Hello and good morning, everyone. It is my great pleasure to have the honor to speak the opening words on the Ukrainian user group meeting. Thank you first of all so much for the team Bespalov to organize this meeting, especially Valentina, Dimitro, and the entire team. To take the time and the effort to bring us all together here today to discuss the challenges, the innovation in mobility, especially in the Ukraine, but also to look a bit into the innovation from PTV side. What is there that helps you to make your work better, that motivates you to deliver great work in modeling and simulation. And what I want to first say to you and also to the Ukrainian people, I'd like to tell you, we have not forgot you. We know right now also in our press other topics than Ukraine only. It is quite high on the agenda, but I'd like to tell you, we totally keep staying together with you. And we admire all of you, the Ukrainian people, and also you here as a community, to being so strong, to be so brave, to be against the Russian aggressor. And we keep our fingers crossed, that one day we don't talk about war anymore. We really talk about a great future. So this, you always have our support, and whenever there is something for you also personally, feel free to reach out to us. Again, thank you so much for organizing this user group meeting, and also on our side, on PTV side, there's so much innovation that has taken place over the last year. You saw this in the background picture. Here's PTV Group. We're now saying PTV Group, which is a part of Umovity. I like to explain this quickly. Since PTV Group is growing, and also we are getting together with other companies. There's one big company from the US called Econolite. They're very strong in the field of hardware, especially detections, controllers, cabinets at the intersections. So this is also for us, it's a new story, it's a new chapter for bringing our planning tools together with hardware, and everything happens out there in the field. And since there's a very strong PTV, a global software player, and there's a very strong very strong company in the US on the hardware, also with a strong brand, Econolite, we decided to have a new framework brand, which is called Umovity. So whenever you follow us, like on LinkedIn or social media, you might see in the future more a bit of both. Here's PTV with a focus on the software, but also the umbrella is then Umovity. And also on the software side, you will see this today as part of the agenda. We focused a lot on our existing products that you might all well know. There's Visum and there's Vissim, but we're also moving forward with new types of products. We call them lines, flows, and axes. You will also see this later. This is a new generation of products. It's more these lightweight software as a service products that don't need to be installed on the computer, that do not require such a high level of long-term training and so on in like Visum and Vissim. And we believe both is important for our customers and our markets. We are very keen to get your reaction on it and to learn what you think about these new type of products and what other ideas you might have that should also happen in the future. So I think the whole day is very much about the innovation, all these things, and then ideally you can develop some new ideas what to do in the future with the likes of Visum and Vissim, but also this new type of products, and also ideally nicely the combination of both. So this is one part, but I think it's always important to talk about what is the world out there right now? What are the challenges in mobility and in transportation? And just coming back to the Ukraine, I think although you are under war, I very much admire that you keep going. I see that Bespalov lab showed us recently in our business plan discussion how you are prepared for everything. Yeah, there might be blackouts in electricity or communication losses. And I think this is a great example of what can happen, yeah, if I like to overcome a certain challenge. And also looking into the Ukraine, I think two things are important from my side, and it's an outside view. Please, you can always correct this. The one thing is, yeah, we should always be prepared to rebuild the country, to reconstruct it. And there, I think it needs people. It needs all of you. Yeah, it needs great planners. Will understand. Okay, what was the transportation system before? What is it now? But now, when we have the chance, what do we want to achieve in the future? And I think there are great chances when rebuilding the country or those parts where it's necessary to do something that's maybe even better than where we came from. Yeah, is it for private transport, public transport, for pedestrians? And therefore, I think it's very, very important, and I'm very happy to know all of you, that you are working with these topics, that you are preparing the country for the future, because it always needs people that bring it there. And that's one thing. That's really the future, and we all do not know how far away this is from now. On the other hand, I think, yeah, also you're an existing country working every day. People have to travel from A to B, and in every country in the world, there are always challenges and chances how to improve the situation in our transportation systems. Also here, I'd like to encourage you, yeah, just keep going. Yeah, I think you're a great community, and around our trusted partner, Bespalov Lab, I think this is a great heart, yeah, how to bring everything together. So from my side, thank you very much to being here today with us, yeah, and to follow all the discussions and to be active in discussions, ideally. And I think there's a great program put together. And again, I like to also thank you to be also trustful partners of PTV, and also using our products, challenging our products. Yeah, as always, we're open for feedback and everything. And with this, I wish you all a great day. Hopefully, lots of great new information and also fruitful discussions. And again, thank you very much for inviting me for this opening speech.
Дякую, Peter. Thank you, Peter. Thank you for your warm words. Colleagues, Peter, we have technical issues with translation. Peter told about PTV is a part of humanity. You saw it on our banners, and he emphasized that community influence on the success of any technology, and we have a very big community, more than 100 people, 117 on the counter, and it's indeed very good. We can develop transport planning, transport modeling in Ukraine. It's good. A bit of patience about translation. The team solving this issue. Please wait for this. I invite to make the invitation my colleagues from Poland, Polish office of PTV. Poland is a very important country for us that supports Ukraine for long years, especially such difficult times as now. We appreciate their support. And Martina? Martina, did you hear me? Are you here?
Yeah, I can hear you, and I can say that my Ukrainian is better and better because I even understood a bit what you described.
Yes, yes. We also a bit understand. So you know, if you know Ukrainian, you actually able to understand the Polish when you are listening often. this language. So I was in Poland in mission few months or even a few weeks ago, and also we speak with the people inside the train. Like we speak in Ukrainian, they speak in Polish, and we understand each other. So very close. Our languages are very close. So Martina, the stage is yours for welcoming word.
Thank you, Dmytro. So, ladies and gentlemen, good morning from my side, Привіт, and also warm welcome all of you on our Ukrainian user group meeting. Sorry for my voice, runny nose with small kid is, I think, on daily basis something typical, as you might know. I'm super happy that I'm here today, and really warm welcome each and every one of you today, because here today we will exactly share and exchange insights and ideas. And as Peter described, I really think and I really believe that one day this great community, almost 120 people, will come to beautiful Kyiv, and we will meet on site with great coffee and even more great ideas, and be all together in really peaceful and calm country, as Ukrainian will be. I'm more than sure that that's your future, that's our future. And yeah, Poland is super close, and I'm happy that even closer maybe than some years ago with Ukraine. And even about our languages, like we are joking just a few minutes ago, that we can understand each other, and we have a lot of common things. And I think we will have also in this modeling part something also about common history, because we can create and develop that together. A year ago, I described to you in general way how we went through this all standardization about modeling. This year, my colleagues from the biggest entity, rail entity in Poland, will describe to you and show you what they achieve in-house, so with their modelers. And I'm really more than sure that what you can also achieve in your next step about some national plans, about rail, about roads, but also for each of your city, because as I said, I'm more than sure that the future will be bright and will be calm and peace for you. So I really keep my finger crossed about that, and hope that this future will come really soon for all of you. And I can only admit that if you need any support, also like Peter described, about modeling, but not only, we are open to support you. And again, thank you for choosing PTV as a trust partner, because also we can say that we will do our best to be this trust partner for good and only better times. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Martina, for your kind words. Thank you for this great opening of our event. So I will now switch to Ukrainian, and I will continue today's event. We have a lot of speakers, a lot of plans. Thank you so much for this great introduction. Dear colleagues, we open our event. I'm sorry for technical problems. We're fixing it. And when you deal with technique, not always everything goes well. We still have a problem with simultaneous translation. We're trying to keep simultaneous, but in worst case, we should use side-by-side translation. English speaking guests, we are fixing the translation. We plan to make simultaneous translation, but unfortunately there is some issue with that. But near me, the team is actively trying to solve these problems. And I think we will solve it. In the worst case, we will make the translation not simultaneous, but after the speaker. So, but let's give them like 5 minutes. I will make the brief introduction, so I will translate it briefly in English for English-speaking guests, and we will continue, I hope, without any technical issues, problems. Colleagues, from our side, once again, I welcome you, our guests, our participants. We have a lot of people. You connecting. Thank you for finding the opportunity to taking part. Today we have snow in Kiev, bad weather. Some people delaying because of that. There is ice on the roads. But I welcome, I greet everyone with first snow on this season in Ukraine. I remind once again to participants about safety measures.
I want everybody to congratulate with this event, and it's coincide with the first snow in Ukraine. Just to in some organizational issues, if there is some aid alarm signals, please do not ignore them and go to the shelter. And I'd like to take this opportunity to express our gratitude to the armed forces of Ukraine. It is due to them that we have this opportunity to work in Kiev and to organize such an event. And also, this event would not be possible without the support of our international partners, and we would not be in this situation and with the whole country of Ukraine without our international partners. So it is due to you that we are able to arrange this event devoted to the colleagues. My team said that translation finally worked properly. Please check it and write in the chat if you have the problems. Please check and write in chat if you still have problems with the translation, but translation should works. Just a couple of words from my side before we start moving to the agenda. So this year, 2023, it is just 1 month left till the new year, but our annual meeting is a kind of way to summarize the performances of the year, because just 1 month wouldn't change the situation dramatically. I would say that this year was more successful than the previous year. It was we arranged the first contest of students worked on transportation simulation, and we are going to continue these activities. We also sold our software. Our customers applied for technical support for us. Despite the war, we continue developing our transportation simulation and software. For each event like our today's, we would like to highlight the topic, which would be cost-cutting for the whole event. Last year, it was transportation simulation for export, and we delivered the message that transportation mode simulation could be used for the purposes of exports. We have different norms and standards, but transport simulation is about math, and math is the same for all countries. So just being guided by the PTV products, which are well globally recognized, we can provide our services not only inside Ukraine, but also beyond the Ukraine. That was our message last year. and our activities, and I think that your activities last year proved this. The message was right. That we believe that Ukrainian transport simulators would be the second IT guys which are in high demand globally. The topic of our today's event is the following: from feelings to calculations. So we Ukrainians are very open nations, and sometimes we are very sincere. Sometimes we sincerely believe that any changes in the road or building some bridge would deliver certain specific results. And it is good that our nations is so sincere, but according to the global standards, making some decisions to decide whether it is feasible and whether it would result in specific performance, all this requires specific calculations. And it is the best global practice. And in our decision making in Ukraine, we should rely not on our feelings and heart, especially in the area of transport simulation, but we should rely on transportation models, calculations, and methods. So actually the slogan of our today's event would be from feelings to calculations. I think you would see this cross-cutting message in the presentations of all our participants. And I would like to start our today's speakers, and I'd like to introduce our first speaker. You know, in Ukraine, we are really lucky because currently it is the national transport model of Ukraine is developed based on PTV software, the software that we are dealing with. The project manager of the national transport model is a very experienced specialist, Dr. Avdan Rahman. I think that we are really lucky to have the project manager of this national project. We have communicated with him for quite a long time. He is a promoter, sincere promoter of transport simulation. He is the person of wide mindset, and I'd like to invite him, and he will tell us about the way to reconstruction, renovation, and recovery, which should be paved with transportation simulation. Over to you.
Good morning, Dmytro. Good morning, everybody. And thank you for inviting me to talk and share my views today. I find the theme from feeling to calculation particularly appropriate for Ukraine today, especially when it comes to modeling and trying to think about the recovery and reconstruction that is going to be necessary. So my talk is about the road to recovery is paved with models. Let me just check. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, Adnan. You and translation, everything works well.
Okay. And what about the slides? Can you share them, or should I share them?
Could you please share the slides
Yes,
with screen share?
Yes, just give me 1 minute.
Okay.
One moment, please. Okay, can you see my screen?
Not yet. I will also download your presentation just in case it will be a problem.
Yeah, I don't think I'm being able to share my screen for some strange reason.
Окей, so give me. Колеги, зараз 1 секунду ми включимо презентацію від Аднана. Знову ж таки, маємо технічну проблему. Це якраз причина, чому треба проводити заходи офлайн, але в Україні зараз це, самі розумієте, небезпечно. Сподіваюся, наступний УГМ буде вже офлайн, як Мартина сказала, що ми зможемо купити каву і, власне, обговорити всі ці речі вже особисто. Adnan, I start your presentation. I will make the screen demonstration and please say the next when you need the next slide.
Okay. So slide number 2.
So, slide number 2. Slide number 2 and demonstration from current slide. So do you see?
No, I don't.
Adnan, the colleagues tell me that participants see the screen.
Okay, fine. Very good. So, oh yeah. Okay, I see it too. So, I obviously, you have been fighting a war for more than a year now, and there's been a lot of damage and destruction. And rebuilding Ukraine and recovering from this war is going to pose huge challenges for Ukraine and the people of Ukraine. It's going to require a great deal of creativity, a great deal of out-of-the-box thinking, and equally important, it's going to require very careful planning because the resources that are going to be available for rebuilding are going to be scarce because the scale of the rebuilding effort is immense. And it's going to take a while. The rebuilding and recovery of Europe after the Second World War took more than 50 years. Next slide, please. When we talk about rebuilding and recovery, we have to ask ourselves some questions. I have been involved with several of the efforts, and I have attended several of the recovery conferences which have been held in various parts of Europe, in London, in Paris, in Berlin, in Amsterdam. And one of the things which struck me is that the plans for the recovery and reconstruction of Ukraine seem to be more of a wish list. They don't ask some hard questions. Rebuild and recover what? What should be rebuilt? Why should the objects that have been destroyed or damaged be rebuilt or replaced? Who is going to determine what happens? Whose wishes, whose perspectives, whose objectives are going to guide the recovery and reconstruction? How should the priorities be defined? Whose priorities should determine the reconstruction and rebuilding agenda? How is this effort to be realized? How is it to be financed? Is it going to be lending? Is it going to be from donors? Is it going to be private money? Is it going to be financed by Ukraine itself? How is this going to take place? What is this recovery and rebuilding going to cost? And very importantly, what is the best use of scarce and limited resources? Everybody wants to rebuild and everybody wants to have a Ukraine which is significantly better than what it was before the start of this horrible war. But what is the best way to achieve this objective in the future? And here we go from feelings to calculations. Yes, we would like to rebuild everything, but it's realistically not going to be possible. So I'd like to suggests that these are the questions that models and data can help us address as we go forward and think about and plan for the recovery and reconstruction of Ukraine. Next slide, please. Now, if we think about the rebuilding and recovery of Ukraine, there are many, many criteria and dimensions that need to be kept in mind. So, for example, in this framework, we need to think about the context after the war, what has been damaged, what is the resource that is available, what are the legal frameworks. You can read it, I'm not going to go through it all, but you can see that there are many different criteria that need to be kept in mind. There are several actors, local governments, regional governments, national government, NGOs, international donors, what have you. And the infrastructure which has been destroyed includes both hard infrastructure, concrete and steel, but also, not unimportantly, it includes soft infrastructure, which is the capacity of institutions and the people. How is this to be restored? So as you can see, reconstruction and recovery planning is going to require a great deal of systematic, careful, and rigorous analysis. And it's going to require a lot of data. And this is exactly where models come in. Next slide, please. Now, in Ukraine, as Dmytro pointed out, I have been working for several years now. And one of the elements of the work that we have been doing involves the construction of a national transport model for Ukraine. In the course of the period that I've been active in Ukraine, I have often heard that we don't have time to build a model, or we do not have the data, or we do not have the time to collect the data, or the model is not very accurate, or the model has not been validated. And to all these things, I would say, this is always the case. It is never the case that you have a perfect situation where you have all the time in the world to build a model, to collect the best data, to build the best data set, to make the model so accurate that it predicts everything perfectly, and to validate it to the satisfaction of everyone. This model just does not exist. So let's be clear. Most models are bad models. Either, the model is contradicted by some things we see in real life, or the model is conjectural. What I want to emphasize is just because it's a bad model does not make it useless. Even bad models have many uses. And most importantly, even a bad model can be used to create a roadmap going from premises and assumptions to certain conclusions that you want to draw. And because it's a bad model, you have to be careful about how you use it. So here I want to talk about what are the legitimate uses of bad models, and in particular, how can we use bad models? And I categorize the national transport model of Ukraine that we have built as a bad model in this purely conjectural form. Even though I still believe that the national transport model of Ukraine that we have built and are now refining is probably one of the best models in the world that exists at the national level. Of course, that doesn't make it a perfect model. So let's move on to the next slide, please. So what are the legitimate uses of bad models? First, the volume of data that is involved in an exercise such as modeling transportation in Ukraine is immense. There's a huge volume of data. There's socioeconomic data, population data, production consumption data, data on vehicle fleets, gender, education level of the population. In addition to this, we have data on the networks, the transportation networks, the road, rail, location of the ports, the inland waterways, what have you. So there's a huge amount of data. And then on top of all this, we add the volumes of traffic that is using the transportation networks. So a model can be used as a bookkeeping device. Simply put, it allows you to bring the various traffic flows, the networks, the supply and demand of transport. It allows you to visualize it. It allows you to keep track of what is happening. Bad models can also be used as part of an automatic management system. So for example, and I'll give you examples of all of these in a minute. They can be used to explore hypotheses, a fortiori arguments. It can be used to help convince people who are skeptical of certain ideas about the usefulness of the ideas by using models without actually having to do anything. So it's like a laboratory. And finally, it can help train people and stimulate them to change certain behaviors. Next slide, please. So when we talk about a bookkeeping device, I've already said to some extent what this involves. But in Ukraine currently, the infrastructure is being damaged and it's being destroyed. Well, we can have a model or a database, whatever you want to call it. One doesn't really serve much purpose without the other. To record all the damage to the infrastructure. What is the location of the damage? What is the impact of the damage on how the transport networks are supposed to function? Very importantly, this war has also changed the distribution of the population, the composition of the economy, and it has changed the travel and transportation patterns and flows throughout Ukraine. So we can use the national transport model to actually keep all these things and record them. Next slide, please. Then we have an automatic management system. We can use the same model to register what are the projects that are ongoing. In fact, in the national transport model, we have something called the damage and destruction scenarios, and we also include the projects that are already ongoing to repair the damage and destruction and projects that are planned for the future. So by doing this, we can actually see whether the performance of the transport networks are improving or not. The same model can also be used to record, for example, the condition of the networks. So in the national transport model, we use the condition of the road pavements on the road network to determine travel speeds on the road network. So there we have a record of what is the condition of the road network. Next slide, please. Very importantly, we can explore all kinds of a fortiori arguments. And an a fortiori argument works as follows. If some assumption is true, then some policy, for example, A, is to be preferred. But the actual situation is different from the assumption that we are making, but it is different in ways that make policy A even more favorable. Thus, all other things being equal, policy A is to be preferred, ceteris paribus. So now let's consider the following example. The European Union is exploring the option of laying a rail network of 1435 gauge to connect Ukraine to its neighbors. And these corridors will be built parallel to the existing 1520 gauge rail network in Ukraine. Some people, actually many, have criticized this project idea as being too costly and not really necessary for agricultural exports, because currently agricultural exports are very important. But as the economy of Ukraine grows and diversifies, especially in the future, in all likelihood, the share of the agricultural sector in terms of contributing to the Ukrainian GDP will decline. So we can use the national transport model, in fact, to explore the effect of the assumptions such as the continued closure of the Ukrainian ports. This is essentially why the rail network has become necessary. We can also use the model to see what would be the effect of the growth of other sectors besides the agricultural sector. And these kinds of analysis can be carried out using the national model, and it can be used to make a fortiori arguments for or against the construction of these new rail corridors that are being proposed. Next slide, please. Models can also be used to explore hypotheses. What would happen if hypothesis A is true? What would happen if something else were to be the case? So, for example, one of the things which is currently relevant in Ukraine is the size of the rail network. And currently, the rail network in Ukraine is very large and not very profitable on all the routes. In fact, I was told that roughly 16 routes, and I may be somewhat wrong with the figures, but I was told by a fairly reliable source that 16 routes in Ukraine account for 80% of the passenger traffic in Ukraine. So the question that one must ask and explore is, what would happen if we close down the other routes? What would happen to the accessibility of the various regions of Ukraine? What would happen to the mobility of people who live in these regions who need to move? What would be the result? Is this something that is good or bad for Ukraine as a whole? Which groups of people are disadvantaged by a decision like this? These are all things and ideas that can actually be translated into concrete numbers and examined. I've already talked about as an aid to selling an idea. So for example, if you want to, let's say, build these rail corridors, the model can be used to show what would happen if you were not to build the corridors. It means maybe loss of grain exports, whatever have you. But these are the kinds of explorations that these models can facilitate. Next slide, please. So let's get really concrete. So we have a national transport model, and this can be very easily and should be used to build a strategy for the recovery and reconstruction of the transport sector in Ukraine. It should be used to define what the future transport networks in Ukraine and the transport sector should look like. There is something called the National Transport Strategy 2030 in Ukraine. I've looked at the strategy very carefully. Again, it's essentially, and I don't mean to be too critical of it, but I have to say this, it is not based on any kind of systematic analysis. It's not based on a consideration of the costs and benefits. It's not based on a consideration of the effect of the projects that are included in the National Transport Strategy on the performance of the transportation networks. So in the end, the National Transport Strategy can better be labeled as a national transport fantasy. And models can help us move again from feelings to calculations. So a future that we define, a strategy that we define should be based on analysis, and it should be based on data. Very importantly, the national transport model can be used to define priorities, because every project that you do, we can estimate the impact of that project on the overall national performance of the transport network. And obviously the transport projects which have a large impact on the performance, a large positive impact on the performance, or without doing the project, if it has a large negative impact on the performance of the transport network, those are the projects that should be prioritized and be carried out first. Finally, you know, there are many, many projects which are being carried out. Every project requires resources, but the resources are scarce. So what and which projects should be carried out first? And how should we define the criteria for determining which projects have national importance and which ones don't? Models can be used to do this. But then we also have a lot of needs at the level of the oblast and the Romadas. Regional transport models can be used to set transportation priorities at lower levels than the national level. Then we have urban models. A lot of Ukrainian cities have suffered a great deal of damage, and this is terrible. This is horrible, no question about it. However, it also presents an opportunity. Ukraine can build back without making the mistakes that were made in building European cities. It can build back 15-minute cities. It can build back cities which promote sustainable mobility. Also, models can be used for very operational elements, such as carrying out maintenance of the road network. There's a huge road network, there's a huge rail network. You can use the models to basically define the maintenance regimes for these transportation networks. And finally, the models can and should be used for developing the strategy of the subsectors. What should aviation do? Okay, we want to grow aviation in the future. We want to make sure that Borispol is open. We want to make sure that the airports in Kharkiv, in Dnipro, in Odessa, Lviv are all functioning. What else? What should be done? The same holds for road, same holds for all the other transport modes. So I hope this gives you very clearly a picture of how models can be used to support reconstruction and recovery in a variety of very diverse ways, going from defining futures and future scenarios to defining strategy to looking at more operational elements associated with the performance of the transport networks. Next slide, please. So I'd like to conclude by saying that I think that models not only can do all the things that I've said, but they also do some other things which make their use even more imperative in terms of the recovery and reconstruction of Ukraine. Models provide transparency. If you do analysis and you do project feasibilities based on assessment of costs and benefits using data and models, it inspires confidence amongst investors. And one thing I can tell you, the scale of the reconstruction exercise in Ukraine is going to require private investors to invest large sums of money in Ukraine. What these models, when used right, can also do is it helps to make the actions that are undertaken more cost effective. You use models to reach your goals faster, using less resources than what you would do otherwise. And also, in some respect, models are very agnostic towards the wishes and desires of policymakers and politicians. In that sense, they give you results which can help you move towards more equitable solutions. But in Ukraine, using models is going to require a change in the mindset of policymakers. And this is something that I urge all of you to work towards, to help policymakers understand that, yes, okay, maybe a model is not the perfect model, but it's still better than just a statement of desire or a collection of ideas. What is also very important in Ukraine is that currently there are not enough people who actually do modeling and are able to translate models into a language which is understood by policymakers, by politicians, by decision makers. There are people, but they're not enough. It's going to require many, many more people. So the other thing which I'm going to urge all of you as you think about models and modeling in Ukraine is to think about how you can create a larger pool of people with the ability to use models and, more importantly, to translate the results of these models into a language that is understood by non-modelers. And last but not least, the use of models is going to require more and better data than what is currently available in Ukraine. However, as I said earlier, there's no perfect data set, and the purpose of models is to use whatever is available to provide insights which you otherwise would not have. So I'll stop there and take any questions if there are any. Thank you.
Thank you, Adnan. Thank you for your excellent presentation. So I will switch in Ukrainian. Please use this translation.
Dear colleagues, at the end of this panel, you will have the opportunity to ask your questions. So please keep your questions by the end of this session, and you will be able to ask them. If we have no time, please write them in your chat, and you will get the reply. Once again, I'd like to express my gratitude to Adnan for this very nice introductory presentation. And thank you for his time in his very intensive and dense agenda for this event. Since the saying that there is no time for simulation, no time for gathering data, looks very like doctor says we have no time for testing and getting anamnesis, but anytime we should do that. Once I remember Adan said that our military, our defenders, they do rely their decisions on modeling because victory is impossible without modeling. But our civilians do not rely on simulation quite often. I'm really impressed with this similarity. If you want to get victory in civilian France, you should base your policy on simulation. Yes, and build back better should be based on Prescott simulation modeling. But we should prove that in order to prove that new is better than old one. And one more point underlined by Adnan is transparency. I do agree with him. I'd like to say a bit more. Transparency is really important in terms of equity. We do have scarce resources and we should allocate them in equitable way. And modeling is really the instrument that would help that. Yesterday, we had the 10th anniversary of the Revolution of Dignity. I believe that our sense of dignity and equity makes Ukrainians different from some other nations. So in order to have everything transparent and equitable, using transport models is the only option. So thank you, Eden, very much for your introductory speech and for your participation. I'd like to invite our next speakers. I already mentioned that I mentioned the importance of our cooperation with Poland, and we had a lot of questions. What is the experience of Poland? And actually, Poland is an excellent example of using transport models. Those who visited Poland and used the transport infrastructure could see that they are in advance compared to Ukraine, but we should follow their experience. And we invited the experts from Poland, and I kindly invite Michał Pyzik and Jacek Zaremba. They are the...
Oh, Jacek, are you here? Do you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you.
Great.
Good
So
morning.
good morning. So I give the stage to you. Please present.
Okay, so I will start. My name is Michał Pyzik. Hello, everyone. So one moment to to turn on our presentation. So 1 second. Okay. So, do you see our presentation?
Yes, we see it.
Okay, great. So once again, hello everyone. My name is Michał Pyzik. I'm transport traffic and I'm transport modeling and traffic forecasting coordinator in CPK. And today I will present our presentation with my colleague Jacek Zaremba, who is project manager in our company. Who we are, I will say on the next slides. Our presentation, the title of our presentation today is High-Speed Rail in Poland, Passenger Transport Model Role in the Process of Planning and Timetabling. Who we are? Who is CPK? CPK is a special purpose vehicle established by Polish government. This company is responsible for build 2,000 kilometers of new railway lines in Poland, and also new airport nearby Warsaw on the west side of the Warsaw, and also the airport city and so on between Warsaw and CPK. If we maybe I will try to show you what we plan to do. This new central airport will be here. This is the about 30 kilometers to the west side of Warsaw, between Warsaw and Łódź. We want to build 2,000 kilometers of new high-speed rail in Poland. This is we call that we plan to build 10 spokes to CPK and Warsaw in our country. You can see the new railway lines to the Free City, to the north of Poland. You can see the new rail lines to the south. And the main task of our railway program is also new lines to Wrocław and Poznań. This is really important lines in Poland's railway system, and also in the European railway system. And this is our task to build it. We want to build it in, I think, in next 20 years. But we want to start using our new airport for 5 or 6 years from today, and also this line from Warsaw to Łódź also should be ready with the new airport when new airport will start. So this is our task. When we want to build it, we have to do a traffic forecast. We have to do a feasibility studies and a lot of calculations and preparations. So to do it in good way and in good approach, we use the passenger transport model, which we built in-house by our experts. This is the multimodal transport model. This is we have a standard approach. This is the first step model. We have all modes of transportation, also with the aviation. We had almost 3,000 zones in our model. And what is important that in our model we have our country, but also we have external zones. For example, Germany, Slovakia, Czech Republic, a part of Latvia, and we don't have a lot of information about on our east side, because these data, for example, the population data are not so easy to get for us. So when we a lot of years ago, when we built this model, we decided to stop on the Schengen area. But when we do a feasibility studies, for example, with the line from Warsaw through Lublin, Zamość to Lwów area, we are expanding our model to this in this part. So about construction of our model. We have a households interview to build a demand model, the distribution functions, the modal split function, and so on. We also use SIM card data to calibrate our model, especially for the long trips, because our household interviews are not so excellent to get important information about long trips. So we add this data to our model, and we use it to get better results for calibration. Parameterized transport network, road network, rail network, and so on. A lot of traffic counts for the road, for the rail, for the buses, for the aviation. A lot of data regarding to timetables for rail, for buses, and so on. And we use PTV Visum. The thing which we are proud of it is that calculation time of our model is only about between 1 or 2 hours. Yes, we think this excellent result. We spend a lot of time to construct our model in this approach to have a maximum short time of calculation, because better to have short time calculations at quite good results than have excellent results but for 2 days or 7 days or 10 days. So we decided to optimize our calculations to have a short time. And the results, number of passengers and vehicles on network sections by transport modes, roads, railways, aviations. So what we need. So in our model, we can get it. One more slide about necessary input. Train timetables. Yes, this is important that we use timetables for long distance trains, but also for regional and agglomeration trains. Our model is the transport model for whole Poland, but we have, I think, a lot of zones. So we can also have the quite good results in the agglomeration area. What is also worth to say that on our high-speed rail infrastructure, we want to have also regional express trains and also freight trains. So also we have the input with this type of trains. So and any other input, so the rail network, road network, bus timetables, aviation forecast, air network, and a lot of socio-economical data. For example, demographics, GDP, motorization rates, office spaces, accommodation spaces, and so on. And we have a transport model for horizons, which you can say the base model is the 2019. This is the the first year, the 1 year before pandemia starts, and we have forecasts for, as you can see, 2030, 2040, 2050. Timetable assumptions. So we have base forecast for future horizons. We have some assumptions about for long distance trains, are also regional express trains, and this is the input to our forecast. Of course, on feasibility studies, when we have feasibility studies for each line, we are working on timetables. We are testing a lot of scenarios, a lot of variants of infrastructure. We are discussing about these timetables and about these assumptions, and the result we have on feasibility studies level. And what are the numbers? We are forecasting that when we have our network in the target scenario, so when we will have the airport, when we will have the 2,000 kilometers of railway lines, we are forecast that we have more than twice passengers in long distance trains. Also, what is important to say, that our demographic forecasts are not so good for results, as you see, because today we have 38 million citizens in Poland. In 2050, we will have about 32 million. So even that we have quite pessimistic demographic forecast, we have the forecast for long distance trains that we will have more than twice passengers in long distance trains. Also, this is, of course, even what we should say here, that maybe I will go back to previous slide. Also, please consider that our motorways and express roads are still developing. We will have in few years almost 5,000 kilometers, if I remember it well, roads in Poland in this standard. So this is this is really hard to get to have these results of long distance trains traffic because of the also roads, because roads are still developing. So maybe about these results, this for the other scenarios we have also forecast, but maybe I will go through to the next slide because of the time. So if you want to see, for example, the network traffic forecast results for 2050 for the rail system, you have in on the right side. The left side is the base scenario 2019. As you can see, the most important line in Polish railway network is the line between Warsaw and Łódź to Poznań and Wrocław. Also, Centralna Magistrala Kolejowa, this is the existing line to the south of Poland, to Krakow and Silesia region, and the results are on this slide. And if we want to show the multimodal transport traffic results, you can see it on this slide. On the yellow and orange color, you have a bus transport system on the road network. The gray one is the road traffic, and we don't have aviation on this slide because it was quite problem. It was not easy to show everything on one picture. So maybe I go through to Jacek's sections. We will change the presenter. The last slide is about one of functionality in our model that this is the statical model, but we also can use and show each hour of the day what will be the load and what will be the passenger flows on each hour. So this is one of the newest functionalities, and I think that I have to stop my time and change voice to Jacek. So thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Michał. Once again, good morning, everyone. I think if we already know what the passenger transport model is, we can go further and deeper into details and into possible uses of this model. So next slide, please. So 2 years ago, we have started with a completely new project in Poland, which is called Horizontal Timetable. This project is not only it's not only the CPK project, because we are preparing this timetable together with Ministry of Infrastructure, which is responsible for transport in Poland, and with PKP Polskie Linie Kolejowe, so the Polish infrastructure manager. The target horizon for our project is to prepare a timetable for 2040 and 2050, but I can say that one of the most important things in our project is to prepare a timetable for 2031, because it will be the first year when market in Poland will be liberalized. As for products of our project, you can see it on the slide, and one of them is this map. It's not the final result as for NetGraph, but you can imagine how it's going to look like. So it is a NetGraph for Poland for long distance traffic. Next slide, please. Okay, so at the beginning of this project, we had to change our mindset, I can say, because as for now, process of preparing, of constructing a timetable is like, okay, we have an infrastructure and we have to construct the best timetable we can have. But in our point of view, we have firstly construct timetable which fit for needs of our society, which timetable which fit to our needs for of population, for our cities, voivodeships, etc. And then we have to plan our infrastructure with this timetable we need. Next slide. Okay, so what actually is a horizontal timetable? We have three assumptions in our project. First of all, our timetable will be cyclical. So cyclical timetable is not in the row above. It's not in the row in the middle. It's in the row below. So for example, one train every hour. 7:43 first train, 8:43 second train, and so on and so on. Every hour one train. It's just an example because this cycle, this tact, could be for example 2 hours or 4 hours, but yeah. Another assumption is integrated timetable. In our opinion, changes at the stations should be convenient, and in this case, integrated timetable it's going to look like with convenient changes. And if we want to prepare integrated timetable, we have to prepare this timetable as symmetrical timetable. I don't want to talk about it in details, but I can say that it's because of math. Next slide, please. So our methodology. At the very beginning of this project, we had to update our knowledge of infrastructure parameters, not about existing lines, but about plan, plan in our infrastructure as well. So with this knowledge, we can go to a lot of exercises. So one of them is to plan routes in long distance traffic. The second exercise is, for example, demand forecast in passenger traffic, and the third one is capacity tests and coordination of train paths. So that's the methodology of our project. Next slide, please. Okay, so now we can go into details of one of these routes. So this is the route from Świnoujście to Kraków. And on this slide, you can see, for example, volume of ridership or operating performance in train kilometers and so on. So a couple of numbers, but because of this, you can see how we can use passenger transport model in our project. Next slide. Yeah, what is horizontal timetable technically? So as I said, this timetable is going to be integrated, and on this slide you can see how this integration, so this coordination, is going to look like on the net graph, but on the time graph as well. Next slide. Yeah, this is the last one, the last slide of our presentation. Our net graph is not only for long distance traffic, but for regional and suburban traffic as well. This is the map, the schema for Kujawsko-Pomorskie Voivodeship, which is in the middle of our country. Yeah. So that's all from my side. Thank you very much.
Thank you, colleagues. Thank you for your presentation. Very interesting, very inspiring experience of Poland. Thank you for your presentation.
Just a number of notes on my side, from my side. If we want to get the quality of infrastructure like of European level, like in Poland, we should base on calculations, not on feeling. So we should use the same approaches. We could ask our Polish colleagues, what is your secret? How did you manage to develop such a great infrastructure? And I think that our Polish could tell us a lot of that, but they will definitely include transport modeling. They collected data and they proved the efficiency of the decisions made from the early stages. Just 1.5 hours of time of running the simulation, it's really astonishing, because we had the experience of transport model, and it took us several days. So, and suppose we need to decide some to get some decision, and if it takes several days, it's really frustrating. So 1.5 hours of running a model is really fantastic. Thank you very much, dear colleagues. Thank you for your fantastic experience and sharing it with us. I think it would inspire us as well.
There was one question to you. Is it passenger model only, or there is other modes here, to Jacek and Michał?
This is the multimodal transport model. So, so of course, the main task of this model to calculate passenger flows. So, so for example, when we build new motorways, we want to know the impact of this motorway on the system. What will be the passenger flows 10, 20 or 30 years? What will be what should be the parameters, the 2 lanes or 3 lanes motor, and so on. And also in the background, we have the heavy traffic cars on the road network, for example, because the heavy cars. This is the we have the impact on the capacity, for example, on the road network. So when we have for some of roads a lot of heavy cars, we have a smaller capacity for the passenger cars, for example. So we have to see it to have good calculations, but to do the special traffic forecast, for example, for the freight trains, we have the different model. But also our team are preparing now the freight traffic model for the whole Europe. This is the new model. I think for the next 9 months we will have the first results. yes, and this is the it. We planned to have the tool like, for example, Deutsche Bahn have in-house for the Germany. They have the model for the whole Europe, and also see the impact of, for example, trains from China to France or Germany. And we also we are building something like that, So this is this passenger transport model which we showed you. This is the special tool for the passenger and especially for the rail transport system. But this is not the only tool in Poland.
Thank you, Michał, for such detailed answer.
Yes, it is a passenger model. It's very good when the model is specialized, but then it is very efficient and effective. But in Poland, they have just a great number of different models. They don't have just one universal model. They have a lot of different models for different tasks. If there is, for example, an important task for investments, for example, they develop a special model. As Michał mentioned, they would like to have this the new model. It's really impressive. So if we go to the new speaker, and if you ask what is the best software for transport modeling, I would reply it's definitely PTV. And if you ask which company is promoting PTV software, I would tell you it's Bespalov Lab. And if you ask me which company is the best in promoting this internationally, that's I would say it our partners, and we cooperate with them in promoting the new approach, including in our regulation. Transport models and simulation is already in Ukrainian regulations and laws, and but everything could be improved. And actually, about what kinds of improvement could be expected in Ukraine legal base for transport modeling, all this would be presented by us, by Anatoly Tsinka, the representative of the state enterprise. Good afternoon. I'm Anatoly Tsinka. I'm the first deputy director of the state enterprise and Держдор NDE. Scientific R&D Institute имени Shulgina. Can you see my presentation? Yes. What is our company? It is the state-owned enterprise operating in currently we're under the Ministry of Infrastructure currently, and it entitles us, and we are also responsible for developing, commenting, and providing expertise of construction regulations. Our institute is also acts as a secretariat for standards 307, and it is the standardization authority, and we provide our support to development, designing of the national standards of Ukraine, the STU. We also have the relevant certificate from the Ministry of Education and science, saying that we are the second group of a scientific institution. So we are developing standard norms and standards based on. So I can see, I understand that you can see only the first slide. Yes, only the first slide. Just a moment. Yes, now we can see your second slide. So our major activities include developing construction norm standards and other documents based on our surveys, and we also provide scientific and technical support. Unfortunately, it was done before the war, but we also had several facilities in 2022 and 2023, but there were a few of them. We also engaged in paraportization and survey of bridges. We surveyed the damaged and destroyed bridges. We also provide certification of materials and attestations of specialists. We provide monitoring of car accidents and develop our proposals to improve the traffic rules. We also engaged in pricing and training the specialists. In terms of developing standards and norms, our institutions is the leader in this area. We actually developed the DBN B234, which is automobile roads, and in parts 1 and 2, design and destruction. We are also responsible for developing standards for roads in settlements and municipalities. And we are currently developing the improvements for the standards for designing and implementing roads and tubes, and also for installing steel constructions and pipes. Currently, we are reviewing the standards for traffic lights, and we are trying to streamline those and bring them in line to the European standards. We also improving the standards with regard to the traffic signs and general technical conditions and traffic safety. So one of our focus is harmonization of Ukrainian standards to international and Ukrainian standards. Currently, we are in the process of harmonizing 4 ISOs, 106 ENs, and 3 ASTMs. Ukraine is trying to become a member of EU family. That's why our focus is improving European standards in Ukraine. So what are our achievements in sectoral standards? So in terms of general standards for roads. So we have clearly defined the transport model, and we clearly defined the parameters which should be focused while in the process of designing. And the transport model included the following characteristics: the speed, the time for covering certain sections, the length of queues, and the acceptable delays. The most valuable transport facilities are transport joints, especially if we have the crossing of high categories. Here, the standard clearly specifies that the final configurations should be based on feasibility studies using transport model, because the transport model should demonstrate the advantages and disadvantages of specific design or scenario. So, and also the cost parameters are also taken into consideration, and that would be the basis for selecting the final design, which should be then approved and financed and implemented. Our next achievement is construction norms DBN B235. It's construction of streets and roads in settlements, municipalities. So after 2018, we have clearly established requirements which guide adoption of certain decision based on transport models. They are used for to evaluate the capacity of network, the traffic, and also the performances of certain sections, and all this is in line with the requirements for the national roads. In order, so all these parameters should be calculated for the whole network, and it's at the macro level and at the local level, micro level. I think that the speakers today will focus on that. So the traffic flows on the street network are required by the standards to be designed using the imitation transport models. So we can see that both the national roads and local, let's say, settlement roads are clearly determined by the standards using the models, so the transport models. So it would result in the best possible solutions. Our other achievements include that together with our colleagues from ProMobility project, we developed recommendations on modeling transport traffic flows to assess the efficiency of project decisions for road infrastructure. So the document was really very impressive, and unfortunately, because of the war, its implementation was suspended. You can see that the document was approved and signed in November 2022, So the final approval was in August 2023. So currently this document is officially approved and adopted and is operational in the legal framework in Ukraine. If you are interested, please apply to our institutions and we will provide the document all the clarification. This document was also posted on our website, and we also requested proposals, comments in order to further improve and develop this document, because actually it was our first attempt to specify the parameters of transport models for automobile roads in Ukraine, and in terms of providing criteria and parameters to assess the efficiency of certain design. We do realize that the solution cannot be the cheapest, but it could be really effective and efficient in terms of traffic flow for certain section of a certain joint. So that could be used by the designers to prove that such solution is actually the best for appropriate for further implementation. I'm not going to provide details on the document. It is available on the website, but just could provide one example. Here you can hear the intensity of average day traffic by sections, and this is used to identify the category of the road for further maintenance, whether it should be the capital repair or reconstruction in order to dramatically improve the characteristics of this section. Another sample of visualization is the average intensity of traffic and also the intensity of traffic for two different options. So we are going to upgrade and improve this document. Unfortunately, because of the war, the scope of design activities dramatically decreased, but we didn't suspend them. And I was happy to hear that, as Dmytro said, that the software for transport modeling is still in demand, and hopefully after the war is over, we will have the increase in demand. That was about the technical parameters and how to identify the cost of the design. It is Article 17 of the Law of Ukraine on investment activities. This stipulates that the Ministry of Infrastructure, based on methodologies and rules, shall identify the rules for cost estimate of construction, reconstruction, repair, and maintenance. So we actually all the requirements of the regulations for identifying the cost are clearly specified, and it is not the obstacle for not it is an obstacle for using non-clear methodologies. Methodologies should be clearly specified. It is also related to so-called safety audit, which is ongoing in Ukraine. In some section of the roads, it could not be just visually assessed, but using modeling, we could provide specific results and also recommend and offer specific ways to improve the situation on certain road section. The Institute has implemented also some innovative solutions like innovation portals where the users could tell about themselves and suggest their offers and also download their presentation materials. So there is no restrictions here, so you can even promote your software here. Another our improvement is innovation platform, which has already 32 editions with more than 2,000 interesting materials. So that's it. Thank you for your attention. Thank you for your time, and we welcome contact us. Thank you, Anatoly. Thank you so much. I have noticed maybe the core message we have had from our potential customers saying that why should we use transport models if it is not required by Ukrainian regulation? So, but since 2023, this statement is not relevant. It is definitely in Ukrainian regulation. But why is not it used intensively? Yes, it's the same situation with the traffic rules. According to the traffic rules, the speed within settlement within municipalities should not be more than 50 kilometers, but not drivers follow this rule. So the same with the transport models. Hopefully more and more companies would follow it. Our next speaker should be Zurab from Georgia, but unfortunately he is having a meeting with the municipality of Tbilisi currently. So I'm going to show you just two pictures and tell you a couple of words. So this one, this is Tbilisi, city of Tbilisi. It is not the city of Western Europe, where they have counter lanes for public municipal transport on Chavchavadze Avenue, and they are going to implement this approach in the whole city. So the public transport is currently the priority, and yes, they use transport models in order to prove the efficiency of such approach. And another picture, I was impressed. In Georgia, they have the position of city cycle manager, and they currently on this picture you see they are doing transport planning. So I think it is really good investment in future human capital. So I call all the participants of our today's event to benefit from the Georgian experience. It's really very good. Sorry, dear colleagues, we have no time for Q&A sessions, but just try to reiterate that all your questions will be answered. If we are not able to reply you today we will write you in writing or we will contact you by phone. So anyway, you will get your the replies. Currently, we are moving to the next section about the new PTV products available for you this year, next year, and we will start with the flagship of the PTV Visum for transport modeling for municipalities, regions, and districts. And I kindly invite my colleague Maxim Dorosh, and he will tell us about PTV Visum version 24, about the novelties and whether it was to upgrade the version. Please, you have 12 minutes. Can you hear me? Yes. I'm going to launch my presentation. So, PTV Visum 2024, every year, the PTV company issues new functionalities in its software products, and new PTV Visum is not an exception. This year, the key amendments were in procedures, in different interfaces, in user interface, and managing additional settings, procedures, and functions. And I'm going to provide details about the procedures. The new procedure, activity-based model, is a procedure which is based on a respondent relocation per day function. Before, this function was realized using scripts. This year we have the improvements, and all the functional is implemented via not using scripts, but it is already as a set of procedures as we got used in 4-step models and EVA models. So currently this product is available, and also the calculation examples are available for activity-based model for ABMs. It includes a large, bigger number of destinations, and it allows us to include cycle and bicycle traffic, and the calculations capacity improved. Another improvement in terms of calculations is improved reallocation of public transport. In my view, it's one of the most important novelties that we have got this year, because the calculation time compared to the previous algorithm improved from 4 to 100 times. If we talk about searching the shortest route, and to 20-fold improvement for searching best, most efficient route. And also we have the new procedures in demand matrix integration. It is really very helpful thing. If we, before we did trying to, if we have the historic data from previous iteration, we could integrate all this data and use these metrics for new aerial calculation. In terms of interface, we have new function of importing data for electricity, trucks, etc. And the functionality supports format GeoTIFF, and it also to assign Z coordinates for nodes and sections, and it also allows to take into consideration the slope. Why it is really helpful, because the cyclists take into consideration the slope while calculating their speed, and also it is helpful for electric cars. So the specific of the landscape is really important. And it is also important for modeling, for simulating cargo traffic. So you can see that how it is done. We import GeoTIFF data source, and we can calculate the coordinates for nodes and automatically calculate the slope on certain sections. Another function which is currently available and new in Visum 24, it's the possibility of before we had to spend time to add new sections that we add. We had to do that, let's say, almost in manual mode, but currently it is made automatically. For example, cycling routes can be easily added to the current version of the model, and it could be easily done just in a couple of mouse clicks. The next function is transfer of data from Vistro. Before, we used to spend a lot of time for entering data on traffic light regulation. Currently, if we have this data in Vistro file, we can easily import those data and use them in Visum 2024, and use them in for intersection capacity analysis or node regulation, or just to adjust the geometry and type of regulation. And it is really helpful to improve the simulation process. The new innovativity is about user interface. After calculations are over, we quite often use an Excel, and this year the new function was implemented. So what we can see in the Visum list can be easily seen in Excel. The philosophy is that while exporting everything what we see in Visum, what you see in Visum, you get in Excel. There is also there is an opportunity for exporting in CSV format if you are going to provide to perform post calculation analysis. So you can export CSV results. Also, another important function which deals with the visualization of crossroads and ring nodes. Before it was visualized as a special sign, and now it is visualized, it is in reality, and we can see the diameter of this ring, of some section of the ring, and we can see the intensity of traffic, the width of lanes, and we could be quite flexible in adjusting and these types of nodes. Yes, it would help us in exporting the data of modeling to other formats. Also, the scenario managers was improved. The scenario for loading, we can easily open scenarios with a big number of multiple modifications. And also the attribute identifiers were improved for comparing networks. If we, for example, some different scenarios of improving certain section of road or railroad. Our Polish colleagues showed us how they use Visum to visualize their railway network. So Visum 2024 improved its visualization of routes in the network. Now it is possible to visualize the intermediate points, and we could now clearly specify the number of actual stations or stops. This is not the exhaustive list of improvements. There are much more of them, and you can find them in the release note. Here you can see the document. We are not going to overload you with the data like on this picture. We just try to focus on the key novelties, the new functions that are currently available in the recent versions, and you can send us a request for demo version to get it and to identify, to see what other novelties are available. Our contacts are on the slide. Please, you're welcome. Please contact us. Thank you for your attention. Thank you. You, and I have a question to you as an Visum expert. Shall I update it if I have, for example, version 21? Is it worth upgrading? Yes, taking into consideration the great number of novelties that improve the operation, and especially for public transport, I would have no doubt. Thank you. And what about next is about micromodeling. Actually, PTV8 is a kind of admission ticket for transport modeling. Visum is quite a complicated and very powerful product, but with the PTV8, you can quite easily understand how it operates, whether it is worth using, and to start transport modeling. So let's listen about this product and the new novelties, and I kindly invite Vitaly Boyko. Vitaly, you have up to 12 minutes. Welcome, everybody. So in my presentation, I'm going to tell you about the novelties in detailed or micro modeling instrument. Actually, PTV8 and PTV Peaceful. We are going to talk about the transport modeling, pedestrian modeling, street light regulation, also visualization and the comfort in using and technical issues. It's about version 24. And the first thing we are going to talk is transport modeling or simulation of transport flow. So we have a new maneuvering, and it is for simulation lanes. For you can see how it was before in Visum 23, and sometimes when the traffic is quite intensive, we could see that the cars had to stop at the end of the lane, and then they could move to another lane with a special function. So currently in Visum 2024, this the situation was improved, and now you can see how it was on the section on the left side of the slide. In terms of modeling pedestrian movements, we've got two improvements. If you remember, in 2D mode, we had only these small points which were simulating individual pedestrians, but we had no information about their individual parameters. Currently, these parameters have been added, and we can track the speed of a pedestrian, and we can understand his individual parameters. Also, we've got new functions which are new functions for working with routes. Before working with pedestrian routes, we had no signs for the direction of moving an individual pedestrian. So it was quite difficult to understand the direction of the route. Currently, we have these arrows, and it is a much easier way to understand where is the start and the destination of the move. And then we also have amendments or improvements for traffic lights regulation. The RBC controller was improved. Unfortunately, it is not implemented, not used in Ukraine. That's why we have improvement for Visum core for Linux. Before it was not available for Linux. Currently it is available, and we can use it. It is for fixed time. In terms of visualization, as always, transport micro modeling has Visum has the best visualization for micromodeling, and the best novelty here is road signs and labeling, marking for 2D and 3D. We can put signs and also duplicate the signs on with labeling on the road surface, and they are available both in 2D and 3D modes. So every picture can be downloaded. We can also create your own signs and put these labels on the road. The 3D models were also, fleet was updated, and the Kyiv office team has tested these updates, which are shown on this video. Of course, if you look more in details, we have tested the vehicles available from 2019-2023, and the models have become more realistic. You can see new brands, and it's not only for passenger cars but also for other types of vehicles. You can currently see them on the video. It also does true for trucks. All this is currently available in version 24. You might remember that in the previous version we were able to add animation. So these vehicles can be also used in the new version. In terms of comfort of using, before we could we couldn't select and adjust several municipal transport routes at the same time. Currently, this function is available. We can add the intermediate stops, and we're just using with several mouse clicks we can get the results. And we also continue improving the software in order to get the best results with the minimum efforts, in order to update the municipal transport routes, the individual routes. Now you can see that we can easily simulate municipal transport pocket stops. It took me just 10 seconds. So we can save our time. We also have improved the conflict zone marking. Now the conflict zones are marked not in figures. Before we had this opportunity to mark them with like 1, 2, 3. Now we have markers. They are not figures but letters, and it is also comfortable, and we can see the arrows for the direction of movement of traffic, and it also gives us a better possibility to read and interpret the model. We got also the labels for secondary facilities or objects, because quite often we faced the situation how we could put description of routes or streets. Now we can do that easily without using any additional word processors. So this function is quite easy. That's about the comfort of using the software. We also have a number of technical changes. We have updated CodeMeter and Python versions. So that's it, what I wanted to tell you. With any questions, with any requests, if you would like to update your version, please contact us. So thank you, Vitaly. I have the same question as I asked Maxim. If I have the old vSIM of 2018, is it worth updating for the recent version? Yes, definitely. Talking about very old versions, there were versions with no possibility to undo certain steps. So the difference, it's like the difference between different brands. I'm not going to tell you which ones, but you can guess. It's about the speed of using, the comfort of using, and the visualization itself is it's a different level. Actually, we are actually quite often surprised how the colleagues from PTV find the ways to improve their products, because this SIM was good already several years ago, but they improved that a lot. Talking about new products, PTV have introduced a new line of products mentioned by Peter in his introductory speech, and you are already requesting about this new line. Actually, we have the new software, which is really of great interest from your side, and we are going to outline them to get the key information about these products. And we'll start with the PTV lines. It's about public municipal transport, and I kindly invite Lev Ivanets, transport planning specialist. Over to you, and you have up to 12 minutes. Thank you, Metro. Can you see my presentation? Yes, we can see it. So welcome. My name is Ivanes. I am transport planning of ProMobilnost company, and I will tell you about PTV lines. It's a new product, and it is designed for municipal public transport planning. I'm talking about the scope and also the potential of the use. I'll start with the transport planning process and the history of how the idea of creating such project emerged. Talking about the total process, we've got used in Ukraine that our municipal transport is subject to unexpected changes, but in Western countries, such changes are made based on strategic documents, analysis, which allow sustainable development of transport network. So, but with this new but with COVID, required public managing public transport to implement a number of measures, including changing transport routes. And actually, Lines is the product that allows us to simulate the potential impacts of changes, and it includes network planning and interval planning for all the routes. Then the timetable is developed, and a timetable for vehicles and drivers. Currently, Lines cover only the first stage, and but the traffic timetables are in process of developments. Lines are not the classic software. In classic understanding, it is you should not install it, but it is opened. It is an application that can be opened in browser, and it allows to assess the impact of changes in the network and the timetable, and the performances and the costs of the everyday operations of the network. Lines also allows us to assess the provide cost-benefit analysis, the analysis of accessibilities, the coverage zone, and passenger flows. So, and since Lines is an application, its outcomes can be easily shared between the stakeholders and in timely manner. So the Lines seems to duplicate the Visum, but actually they are integrated, and we can currently see how this integration can be done. We can export the data directly to PTV Lines, and we can start using all the functions available with PTV Lines. They are listed on the right side down. So after the versions of the PTV Lines are used, we can export the data back to Visum, and we can use Visum Publisher for visualization, for the purposes of visualization. So now let's talk about the actual functions available now. So we have the welcome functions with the list of available functions, and then we can adjust the routes. We can change the number of stops, the time of staying at the stop. So the full range of functions, of editing functions. We also calculate the time for covering certain sections by either for specific sections or for the type of transport. So, and we could adjust the default speed for the specific sections. And we can also compare different scenarios. Here we can see the performances for two versions, and they are immediately seen on the screen. After it's done, we can export the timetable in the specific format, and which it could be also used in other software. And also to visualize the changes in the network, there is the map export function, and it could easily show the proposals or the new adjustments and to present them to the public. And we can also use this data for social and economic statistic purposes. So let's provide an example. It's the city of Uzhgorod. It's the easiest way of using lines. We can see the city with the stops. We create the route. We can see it on the street, just dragging the mouse on the map, and the line. We have the line. We input the timetable, and we can see the KPIs that related to this road. Then we copy this route and amend it, and we compare these two scenarios. So this is the general the KPIs for the whole network and by each routes, and they are also available in a table format for further more detailed analysis if needed. Since lines are developing intensively, it's a dynamic product. The new functions would be in the nearest time. It's the stations of transfer, introduction of new currencies, and also interactive manual in German and other languages would be added. It is helpful. And the last functions to come soon, it's import of correspondence in matrix forms by regions. That's it for with me. So use evidence-based modeling and contact us. Thank you, Lev. Very nice presentation of lines of new product, and it is really very helpful. The new product we would like to tell you is it is PTV flows, and it can be used to manage the traffic in municipality. Everybody wants to develop the intellectual or smart traffic system, but not everybody clearly understands what of the component of a smart traffic system is to know what is happening in each moment of time and each section. And Yuri Trembach will tell us about this new product, and I would appreciate if you would manage to do that in up to 12 minutes. Thank you. Hopefully you can see my presentation. I'm starting. So it's about PTV flows. So we've already had quite a lot about PTV products. We know Visum, and we do realize that all these software have a very powerful math algorithm behind the curtain. It's already 30 years that these products are in the market, and the mathematical algorithms have been developed for all these 3 decades. But algorithms require data. And just wanted to tell you that I've been working with TomTom company data. It's the data that TomTom collects from vehicles in movement, either using hardware or using the mobile operators data. So actually these data are the tracks created by vehicles moving in our municipalities. After having processed all billions of such tracks, we have the clear picture of the speed of moving in certain sections of our network. So TomTom do have data. You have this metadata, but then you have to process them. So the recent product, which is PTV Flows, it is a combination of data, algorithms, the real world, and machine learning. So the most important features of PTV Flows include the following. It is realized as SAS. So you don't need servers, no hardware servers, cameras, etc. The only thing you need to subscribe for it is software service is subscribed, and also the recent version of Chrome, of web, Google Chrome. So then this PTV Flows allows you to create transport corridor, describe the corridor, to identify the KPIs for this corridor, actually the speed and time, and then you can observe these KPIs and assess them as green, yellow, or red, and receive the current status of the KPI, and also forecast the KPI in time. So you will get the idea of what would happen in a while, let's say in an hour. I will tell you how it looks like. So we identify certain zones, certain range, and we identify certain types of roads, the primary, secondary, or all set of roads, including small roads, and you'll start getting data on the current situation, including speed and time of traveling. And then in your browser, you identify a certain corridor. For example, here is the south corridor. This is a set of sections, and you specify or select the KPI you're interested in, and it is expected travel time. Then you identify the green, yellow, and red figures to identify in order to be able to interpret the data. And here you can see the results. Here you can see 3 corridors. 2 of them are green, so everything is fine with them, and the red corridor where everything is bad with it. So you can monitor the situation for the whole city. It's a kind of a mini center for traffic management, which doesn't require costly hardware for collecting data, and all this is already pre-integrated in this product. So very important feature is which is just integrated is machine learning function, and would like to emphasize that machine learning is done based on the data for this particular zone. How it's done, the system forecasts what is expected to be in half an hour, 1 hour, etc. And then then after a while it gets the real situation, compares the data, and improves its algorithm It takes about 1 month for this machine learning process. And then after 1 month, you will be able to focus or to get the focus in for 1 hour period. So I will show you the video. This is your analysis zone. You are interested in the speed, and you can see that currently the current speed is 0. You can scale up, zoom up, zoom in, and then you specify that you are interested in the situation in an hour. So, and you will see the final result, and you can intervene or manage somehow to do some manipulation in order to improve the situation or prevent the future bad situation. This TomTom based solution is similar to Optimus solution, which was issued in the previous years. So that's why I'm going to compare them. So they have different niches. Optima is a big, expensive, but very flexible decision, which requires quite a long time for implementation, but it allows simulate different scenarios. It also simulates public transport and public and private transport. So actually it's a big solution which requires big infrastructure and big time for implementation, but also big capacities. Flows is quite much less expensive, but it has some limitation. It doesn't include scenario simulation, no what if functions. It also shows the time and speed of travel, and it is based on TomTom data, and it doesn't cover public transport and doesn't require infrastructure. So what for quoting? What the key factor that impacts the cost of this project is the length of network covered by the range that I showed you. Small is 400 kilometers, medium 1000 kilometers town, and large for city or regional roads, and extra large for national or regional roads up to 10,000 kilometers. It's always possible to make your individual configuration, and you always have access to the results of calculation through API. That's why you can be Sodr can take these data and use them without working in Chrome. So basically that's it. If any questions, I'm ready to answer. If you would like to get more detailed information, please contact Bespalov Lab for this updated software. Thank you, Pavlo. We are going to use these products more intensively. We already have some cases of using this analysis. For example, some reorganization that was done, and we can see the improvements either with TomTom data or using PTV flows. So if dear participants, if you want to manage something but you have no data, actually you do have them, you just should know the places where the data are stored. So this product is really very good to deploy a smart transport system in your city. And one product we would like to tell you is Model to Go. And actually the slogan of the presentation is transport model for one. It takes you 1 week to deploy it. So actually we know that it takes much more than 1 week to do that. But we help PTV company, and Alexandra Suvorova, transport planner of Suvorov Lab, tell us about this product. Thank you. Welcome. Hopefully you can hear and see my screen well. Today I'm going to tell you how to create transport model just in 1 week with Model to Go. Model to Go combines technologies, ready available data and automated processes. Model to Go is not just a software, it is a transport model at the same time. The key idea of the software, of the product, is concentrated in the slogan, everything that can be automated should be automated. Let me provide you more details. Currently, Model to Go includes 2 modules. And the first one is Model to Go supply. If we actually it is transport supply. It provides it includes configuration of network, the speed and capacity, then also transport aerials, and it also provides information of the available supply in municipal transport. It also has social and economic statistics, which visualizes the transport areas that absorb or ignore transports. So it also provides us the information about the available POIs. The next module is Model to Go demand, which refers to transport demand side. It is a result of close cooperation of 2 previous modules. It provides information about correspondence and spied diagram. It's about origin and destination of the segments, the number of travels, and also the observed demand. Actually, the observed demand requires additional consulting. The sources of data include OpenStreetMap. It provides information about the traffic network, cycling network, statistical data, and also information of public transport information based on GTFS. Also, it includes TomTom and HERE services. They both provide information about the traffic situation, including information on crossroads. In terms of using, Model to Go supply is used mostly for analysis of trip availability by types of travel for planning public transport network and infrastructure. The module demand is used for traffic analysis, for forecasting demand for traffic, for transportation, and analysis of traffic. The example of using include traffic impact analysis, accessibility models, and general transport master plan and logistic plan. The major advantages include quick start in project planning, stability and reliability, and clear results. That's it with me. If any questions, welcome, and develop your city transport models using this model to go. Thank you very much for your nice presentation. Yes, if you have any questions, any requests, please contact us. So the lack of data is not the reason for not developing transport model. And we are moving to our last presentation of our first session. It is the last but not the least presentation about the possibility of using PTV software. You are already asking how you could use some demo version, or how it can be worked. And actually, we collected all your key questions, and we are going to provide the answers. So I'm kindly asking Valentino Bespalov, a representative of Bespalov Lab, and she will provide you all the replies. Yes, thank you. Can you see my screen? Okay, I'd like to combine or to aggregate the information that we received during the first half of the day, and we'll tell you about the new possibilities and condition of using PTV mobility software, which these are the most common questions. So you can see how they look, the PTV ecosystem looks like, how it is updated, how subscription looks like, the new possibilities for academic communities, how the free versions can be received, a bit about our community and our the types of activities, and you'll get the general idea of transport simulation. I would like to start with a good news. This year, PTV Group authorized the Bespalov Lab with the function of promoting its products not only in Ukraine but also in Moldova and Georgia. And talking about the novelties and news told about by Bespalov Lab experts and Peter and other speakers. Currently, in addition to the globally well-known and PTV Vizim and PTV Vizum, we've got additional new solutions. They are not desktop solutions that you have to buy license and install them on your PC. We have online, currently we have online solution which can be used via certain portal. So you go to a certain site, you buy subscription, and you get access to this software solution and use it online. It is the global trend, and it is mostly subscription. You have subscription for PTV lines, flows, access, etc. In terms of PTV vSIM and vZoom, they are provided for indefinite use after you sell, after you buy them for 99 years, but or there are certain time limits. If you subscribe for certain period of time, for example, 1 year, 2 years, for as long as you need them. About SaaS products, they are hosted on my PTV Group.com. So you access them if you would like to use the demonstration version of PTV lines, or if you decided to use use it for your own needs, and you have already bought the license. If you would like to use PTV vZoom Publisher or PTV Flows, these are the instruments that allows visualization of transport models to demonstrate to the stakeholders, the city mayors, the community, etc. So all the required information is available at ptvgroup.com. It helps also the updated information on the new products recently available and demo products. If you have any questions or if you are not fluent in English, please contact us and we will definitely help you. Annual PTV users meetings are also supported with the information of the recent products, and it's really surprising how PTV company can introduce new products every year. It's because they closely cooperate with academia community, and they develop the new products based on the recent global trends and based on the feedback from the regions. So we provided them our regular reports on using their products in the regions. So those users who have annual updates also can use this function of providing feedback. So most of our licenses are indefinite time, are provided for indefinite time with the 1 year support. It allows not only to get new versions and improve the functionalities of your products, of the products you are using, and you can enjoy the novelties. You will get regular updates of this software, which improves small bugs, like any soft update does. Also, the support for some technical issues in case of you face some operational issues. So it is all these functions are available if you have the function of technical support provided by us. So also if you work with some other, you receive, if you buy the license right now, you'll receive the latest version, and you will get if the company doesn't update the new couldn't be able to use the results of your update if they don't update the recent versions. So the and it is the policy of the PTV group. They update and support those customers who update and support their license package. Is technical support can be bought for 2 and 3 and 5 years, and it is better for you because you will enjoy certain discounts. If there are certain limits, usually it's financial limits, you can use subscription. There is also such an opportunity as you can change the configuration, or you can change the license for a certain period of time and shift to subscription for 2 to 3 months. And if you have subscription for license, it means that you will have the updated update of software and technical support. Currently, the current discount is and it's a New Year offer, anniversary offer, and it's available till the end of the year. If you buy subscription for 12 years, and you'll get 4 months extra. So actually you will buy for 12 months and you'll get 16 months subscriptions. Who are the potential users of subscription? If modeling is required for one project, if you already have license but you temporarily need another one, if you need license with actual version for a short period of time, if you also need a temporary more than one more configuration of +1 module or bundle. So this configuration allows you to buy what you need and when you need. Here we have certain limits. There is the bottom threshold depending on configuration. So actually it's a good solution for our Ukrainian market. The news for academic community. This year we have arranged the contest of the students' works, and we were really surprised that despite a lot of obstacles, the students submitted fantastic works, fantastic models. PTV has always supported young talents. It's not about money, it's about developing transport modeling, transport simulation globally. We have already provided academic licenses for 3 years. They already benefited from student version, thesis versions. But the PTV company has extended its academic community, and now you can see the pictures of young talents on the PTV website, and it is the way to promote them, to promote young talented people, and they also provide new possibilities for communicating, for networking for them. Quite often we are asked how students can use transport Modeling. You can download free student versions, and you can ask if your topic of your diploma or thesis is related to would be interesting for PTV. You can get a 6-month thesis license with a very wide configuration. If it is really huge, because if it were a commercial one, it would cost more than 1,000 euros. So if your diploma or thesis work is of a certain value for PTV, you can be able to get this thesis version. And also more than 10 universities get access to a big configuration of modules. It's a subscription for 3-year subscription with possibility of working for 3 students at the same time. Also, there is a possibility to use remote access to academic license. It is called license borrowing. And if your student or thesis student is working remotely, you can offer him academic licenses, but academic licenses are available for universities only. And what about our profit or non-profit organizations? Usually all products have demonstration version. PTV with Zoom, PTV with Sim do have demonstration versions, and you can download them from the website, install them on your PC, and also PTV also offer you some instructions. They are usually in English, but you can contact us and get translated versions of them or guidance from us. In terms of questions, we have the transport modelers community. It has accumulated a lot of information with the links to webinars with the different types of materials which can be used by use. What is important, most of information is in Ukrainian. They are localized, and here you can also ask your questions in terms of operating modules. And it is also, please keep in mind that there is a huge manual for PTV with PTV with Zoom, and we also provide trainings by our partners or by us. If you buy private license, and if you want to improve your the skills of your staff, we also provide training services for you. You can follow the link and register and be part of our community. Thank you for your attention. If you still have any questions, please contact us. Contact me personally. If you have your question now, please write them on the chat, and we can discuss them today. Thank you for your attention, and over to Dmytro. Thank you, Valentina. I'm really impressed with the figure of 10 universities that have got academic license. Yes, and I'd like to add also that there are also universities that cannot afford licenses and they are searching for donors. If there are some donors present here, or if you know how to help public state-owned universities, please help universities, help your colleagues. It's not about actually money, it's about promoting our products. And there are also the universities that use student versions, and they also have quite more or less successful in using them. So 10 or more. So, and dear colleagues, I have a very responsible task. For us, it's always a dilemma. We always have a lengthy event. It's the agenda is up to 4 p.m. If we are working offline, we would like to go for lunch break or to coffee break. It's a disadvantage of online events. We cannot share our impressions and drink coffee and discuss the topic. And there are also fears that not everybody would back here, but we call you to return at 2 p.m. We are not going to close this Zoom, and we will stay 2 hours of the events where we will going to have the presentations by software users. They will share their results. For me personally, it is the most interesting session of PTA group meeting when the users share their impressions, their experience. You can see on the agenda which presentations are scheduled. We also going to have speakers who will share their experience of getting grants for this software for academic or even real tasks. We will discuss this. We will talk about training. If you realize that you need some additional training in transport modeling, there would be a special presentation, and there would also the presentation about implementing of transport modeling in one of the universities. So enjoy your lunch and be back here at 2 o'clock. Currently, we will launch some transport modeling videos, and you can enjoy both videos and your lunch or coffee. So we enjoy your coffee and be back here at 2 o'clock. Thank you. Thank you so much.